HCOOH. So all of us know that this is formic acid. Keep writing with me, formic acid. CH3COH is acetic acid. Here you see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 carbons are present. 4 carbon is butyric acid. Butyric acid. So 5 carbon. 5 carbon is valeric acid. Learned as valeric acid. This is single one COOH group when it is present. Now, if you have dioic acid, then what do we call it? Starting with this, I hope all of you got this first four. Right. See the next one. In dioic acid, starting with first one, which is oxalic acid. This oxalic acid. So that is oxalic acid, and there is a print gone here. Check out second one here. This one is malonic acid. So if you have COOH this way connected to, how many are there here? Right, so 4. Yeah, 4 one is missing here. So just write down this properly. COOH. Right, 4 carbon. So 4 carbon dioic acid, this is succinic acid, right? So 5 carbon is glutaric acid. Glutaric acid. Keep writing. Next one, 6 carbon is adipic acid. Is adipic acid. 7 carbon is pimelic acid. This is pimelic acid. If we have a cis, alkene here, basically cis 2 butene with 2 oic acid, dioic acid, that is malic acid. This is malic acid. If it is in a trans form, it is called fumaric acid. Just to remind you that Ka1 of malic acid, malic acid is greater than fumaric because the CO minus which is formed will have strong hydrogen bonding here. Well, because it gets into strong hydrogen bonding, Ka2 will be less for malic acid as compared to that of fumaric acid. Got this, everyone? When we have phenyl substituted, which is benzoic acids here, then you will see first one. You have come across this. This is salicylic acid. Salicylic acid. Right. If two COOH are ortho to each other, we call it as phthalic acid. If they are meta to each other, we call it as isophthalic acid. Isophthalic acid. And if they are para to each other, we call it as terphthalic acid. Terphthalic acid. Make a note: salicylic, phthalic, isophthalic, terphthalic. If you have NH2 instead of COOH, so this is anthranilic acid. Antranilic acid. Okay. And if you have, chiral center with OH and COOH, you call it as lactic acid. Lactic acid. If we keep on increasing the family of OH here, so if we keep on adding CHOH, right, this would become tartaric acid. Tartaric acid. And today we have learned that in case if you have CH2 COOH, CH2 COOH like this, right, with sorry, here change this. This is also COOH. Yeah. If you have this, what do we call it? Call it as citric acid. One special acid which I have forgot to mention, just note it down. Double bond O NH with this NH, right, and double bond O here and double bond O here. Got it? So these two hydrides, right? Because if you remove that H plus, it will have, uh, strong resonance on both sides. So this will also act like an acid. Right? This is called barbituric acid. Barbituric acid. You can see this is not a carboxylic acid. Finished. So these are few names you must be familiar with, especially for this chapter. You must be aware of these names. Now, let us come to the preparation of carboxylic acids from various functional groups, starting from alkanes. So if we say with alkanes, when we react that with MnOAc twice and heat, we would get this as RCOOH. No mechanism for this, just need to remember that manganese ion or manganese acetate on heating with RCH3 will produce this as RCOOH. Next, heat from alkenes. Write down that first from alkanes. Then write it from alkenes. Alkenes, you can see we can have various oxidizing agents which can break the double bond. So hot KMnO4, basic alkaline KMnO4 or acidic KMnO4 or hot K2Cr2O7H plus, all of them will break this bond, double bond. Okay. And in oxidation, we will have this as RCOOH. Okay. I'm considering this in acidic medium. In basic medium, it will end up with COO minus. Okay. That plus the single carbons will always become carbon dioxide. That's how it get oxidized. Same here, RCOOH plus R dash COOH. These are from straight alkenes. We can, instead of using these oxidizing agents, we can go for ozonolysis as well. But what kind of ozonolysis? Oxidative ozonolysis. So if we go for oxidative ozonolysis also, we will see the bond breaking happens. We'll get this as RCOOH plus, if it is single carbon, it will end up as HCOOH. Got it? But if you have RCH double bond CHR dash, this on ozonolysis, we will get it as RCOOH plus R dash COOH. Right. Next, heat from alkynes. Alkynes can get completely broken even with ozonolysis or KMnO4, as long as if it is oxidative, or as long as this is KMnO4 in strong acid or basic medium here. Then also we will see this would become RCOOH plus R dash COOH. It's the product you will get. Okay. One reaction I missed out. Just let me put that here. This is called Koch reaction. Koch reaction. Koch reaction is when you react RCH double bond CH2 in the presence of carbon monoxide, HCl and AlCl3 as a catalyst. Then after that, you hydrolyze it. Always imagine that this COHCl will react to form something like H plus and C double bond O, right? This would add like H plus on this, right? And C double bond O will act like the nucleophile to be added here, which is C triple bond here plus, and that will act like a nucleophile which can be added there. So imagine that this H plus is getting added and CO is getting added here, and it is following Markovnikov oxidation. So considering that logic here, so we will get the product as RCH COOH, and this side will have CH3. Alkyl halides, when you treat that with magnesium and ether, we will get Grignard's reagent RMGX. RMGX, when you treat with carbon dioxide, we know that first it will form RCOO minus, and that on hydrolysis will get this as RCOOH. Okay, oh, I have written the hydrolysis step here itself, so we can write it down. Okay. We'll get this as RCOOH. With cyanides, CN minus is a strong nucleophile attacks here, try to give SN2 mechanism to get RCN. Now the RCN which is forming, right, that can be converted into acids both in acidic medium as well as basic medium. On hydrolysis, going ahead we'll see this mechanism. As of now, just remember this. On hydrolysis, whether it is acid hydrolysis or base hydrolysis, cyanides will convert into amides first. We'll get this as RC double bond O NH2, and amides on further hydrolysis and heating will give us RCOOH plus NH4 plus. This is what happens in acidic medium. But if it is in basic medium, first you will get amide formation. In both the cases, the intermediate is the same. Then on heating, in the presence of OH minus, you get this as RCO minus plus NH3. So see the difference in acidic medium and basic medium. Okay, just figure out the difference. Intermediate is the same. The product, one would be ammonium, one would be ammonia. Concentrated H2SO4 will act similar to that of H3O plus here. So heat is not being shown here. Without heat also, because it is concentrated H2SO4, it will be removing out that NH3 and you'll get this as RCOOH. Now suppose if there is a strong nucleophile like ETO minus. So imagine as if first the water is first the acid is forming, okay, and then ETO minus is attacking. Just think that way. So we will get this as RC double bond O OET. Or you can think like first amide is forming. So here I'll put it as amide RCONH2, right? And then ETO minus is strongly attacking so that NH2 minus can be leaving that group, and we'll get the ester form. So this is the way we can make the reactions with cyanides. Please make a note fast. See, most of these reactions are quite repeated, so we don't have to worry spending too much time here. Done with that. Now let's come to the arenes and let's see how the benzoic acid forms will be seen. All of you should keep working with me. These are all the same old oxidation process which you have done earlier. Okay. So this is the way you can practice now. Please start doing this. Toluene, if you treat that with KMNO4 or K2Cr27H plus, what we can say, it will become benzoic acid. Okay. Right. In basic medium, it will end up at CO minus, but imagine as if I did the hydrolysis at the end. So I'm directly writing the acid part here. The minimum requirement in both the cases is that there has to be alpha hydrogen for sure. So at least one alpha hydrogen must be there as long as it is connected to phenyl group. All right. Now check the second one here. Here still there is one alpha hydrogen. Right. So there is one alpha hydrogen. So bond will break here. So while breaking, you need to be very careful here. See how the bond breaking take place. This will break on this side also. It will break on this side also. So as it breaks, what is the product we can expect here now? The product we can see is first benzoic acid plus CO2 and 2 carbon one which is there, that will be acetic acid, CH3COOH. So the final product. Okay, I guess all of you got this. What is the next one? This is cumene. Cumene will also undergo oxidation, same oxidation here. So let me write this as KMNO4 H plus and heat, same KMNO4 H plus and heat. So still there is one alpha hydrogen present here. So same product, benzoic acid plus 2 moles of carbon dioxide this time. I hope all of you are following that. You can see the bond breaking is happening on this side as well as this side. Okay, right. Next, see this reaction here. So where does the bond breaking take place? So if you observe, it has an alpha hydrogen. So because it has an alpha hydrogen, the bond breaking will happen here. As the bond breaks, we can expect the product should be like this. You have COOH, and there is a ketone which is forming here, right? But we are heating it because these reactions normally are done at higher temperature. And at higher temperature, this ketone will always start forming enols, right? Which will undergo further oxidation, right? So we will have this as CH3, COOH plus CO2 because bond breaking will take place here now. Please observe this carefully, everyone, how the bond breaking is taking place. You will get this. If they are more substituted, you have to apply Popoff's rule. Now, this case we have no alpha hydrogen. Since there is no alpha hydrogen, we can expect this reaction won't take place here. For that, next. If all of you have written that, those who are able to do the questions, keep continuing this, keep trying this, and check the answers from, just confirm your answers, whatever I'm writing. Here we can see we have benzoic dioic acid here, benzene dioic acid, which we call it as phthalic acid. So we'll get this as phthalic acid. So same oxidation as above, we're going. Right. Now, in this case, if you see, the breaking point would be here and here. Okay. And you would see that first we will get COOH and COOH, which is phthalic acid. And this side it is forming an oxalic acid. Oxalic acid will also break into carbon dioxide. You know that KMnO4 oxidizes oxalic acid into carbon dioxide. So 2 moles of carbon dioxide will be formed here. Keep doing, everyone. See the next case, break the bond here and here. So again we'll get phthalic acid and 1 carbon dioxide you will get. These are all the same oxidations we are doing. Now sometimes there may not be alpha hydrogen, but it might be with a double bond or a triple bond. And in both double bonds and triple bond will be breaking up in case of KMnO4 hot or KMnO4 in acidic conditions. So this will break to form COOH, and if it is a single carbon, it will become carbon dioxide. Even if it's a triple bond will break. You will get benzoic acid plus CO2. Practice, everyone. Keep practicing. First, the bond breaking will happen here. So we will get one side, we will get benzoic acid, right? So the other side, we are getting ketone here and oxalic acid, which will convert into 2 carbon dioxide. But this ketone will again undergo tautomerism, right? So it can tautomerize with respect to this alpha carbon, and bond will break here also. So eventually further oxidation will happen and we'll get phthalic acid only here also. So we'll get COOH, and one more mole of carbon dioxide will come out. So total question would be asked about what are the total number of carbon dioxide released after the oxidation. Okay. Suppose if you had benzenoid with some donating group or a withdrawing group like that, then it will get disturbed. Okay. So I'll show you now. Have you done with this first? I'll come to that cases. I've put some cases down. So then you will get to understand that.
So here one more alpha hydrogen.
Where beta? Oh, here also it getting oxidized after that. So we will get COOH, further oxidation. Okay. Now this bond is breaking here as well as here. So we will have 1, 2, 3. So all 3 carbon dioxides. Okay, check this next one. Next one, this is benzyl alcohol. So here we will have COOH formation. Benzaldehyde, any aldehyde can be converted into acid with KMnO4. Right? Ketones, we just saw that it can be converted into COOH plus CO2. Okay. Even if it is ether, this part here will get oxidized because bond breaking will take place here. Got it. Check it out. So what do we have? Again, here also we will have COOH. Okay. And this part, which is CH3, right? Now the bond is breaking here, so this will become CH3OH, which will also get oxidized to form CO2. Now look at it. Unlike straight naphthalene, okay, naphthalene can be oxidized with KMnO4, correct? But relatively at high temperature. That's why I didn't take it. But if you consider two fused rings here, which are benzenoids, right? And ring distribution, electron distribution is different, then definitely the bond breaking will be seen here. And it will break onto that side where electron density is more. So if you see, this is more electron rich. Okay. So on this electron rich side, bond breaking will take place. So here, how the bond breaking will take place here as well as this. So we will get this as COOH, COOH, and that is forming oxalic, which will further oxidize to form carbon dioxide. Make a note, this is important. Now if you check out these two rings, okay, these are also benzenoid forms, but this time NO2 is withdrawing, so therefore this is less electron dense ring. This is more electron dense ring. So bond breaking will take place on this side. So what is the product we will have? We have this nitro substituted phthalic acid, COOH plus 2 moles of carbon dioxide. Electron rich groups gets oxidized faster. Last one is just the keto form here. So keto will first convert into this enol form, and then the bond breaking will take place. So we will have HOOC here with CH2 4 times COOH. What is this one? Adipic acid. It will form adipic acid, right? So these are the arene acids, which these are the uh, aryl acids which are coming from various arene groups here. Now let us see how we can get acids from alcohols. Primary alcohols in the presence of KMnO4H plus or K2Cr2H plus or conc HNO3. In all of these cases, they will convert into RCOOH acids. Now, if we have IDO form, it will just recognize the methyl group. If there is methyl present, we will have CHI3 IDO form forming, and it will form CH3CO minus, which on further hydrolysis we'll get this as CH3COOH. That's how we can get the acids using iodoform reaction. Got it? Guess that is clear. So same thing here also, you can see iodoform reaction can be used here. I'll just take some space. Yeah. So here using iodoform I2NaOH, we'll get this as CH3 CH2 COOH plus CHI3. This is followed by H plus. Here also, if you treat that with I2NaOH followed by H plus, We will get this as COOH plus CHI3. Make a note fast from alcohols how it is done. Right. If it is secondary alcohol, we just saw that first it will become a ketone, cyclic ketone. Cyclic ketone will break into adipic acid here in this case. Okay, let's see the preparation from aldehydes. Aldehydes, all of this will work. KMNO4, K2CR2O7, concentrated HNO3, they will work. Along with that, Jones reagent, if you recall, Jones reagent was CrO3 plus H2SO4 in acetone. Okay, this was Jones reagent. Tollens reagent, we have learned this ammonical silver nitrate, correct? Twice plus and OH minus, right? So all of these reagents will convert that into acid group RCOH, okay, followed by hydrolysis. Okay. Especially in tollens and Fehling cases, it is followed by hydrolysis. So it could be toluene, Fehlings, Benedicts. In all of these cases, we will see you will get carboxylic acids. Now, suppose in case if there is a double bond which we need to keep it intact, okay, then K2CR2O7, KMNO4, concentrated HNO3, these are not pretty much useful. Instead, we can either take Jones reagent or Tollens reagent. So by using Tollens reagent, first we will be getting this as CO minus, followed by hydrolysis, acidic hydrolysis, we will get COOH. Another method by which you can get acids is by Cannizzaro reaction, right? So formaldehyde or any aldehyde which does not have an alpha hydrogen, that can give us HCO minus plus CH3OH. After separating this salt, again if you hydrolyze, we will get this as an acid. This is another way by which we can get acids. Make a note. See, all of these are pretty much repetitive reactions. Next, ketones. Ketones, we have just seen that if it is I2NaOH, we will have CH3, CH2, COOH plus CHI3. Okay, so this part will become haloform. And in the second case, first an enol is formed. Enol will always form at more stable side. Well, here it is symmetrical, so it doesn't matter. So double bond will be formed here and it will be broken. So you will have propanoic acid, CH3, CH2, COOH, and one acetic acid, CH3, COOH. In second case, double bond will be formed here and then the bond has to be broken here. All right. Now you will have this as the acetic acid and this as the propanoic acid. This double bond here. Yeah. Okay. So here if we break, we'll get this as CH3, C double bond O, OH plus CH3, CH2, COOH. Right. So you know the Popoff's rule, right? Ketones always go with smaller carbon chain acids. Next is the formation of acids and its derivatives from ketenes. This is new. Okay. So from ketenes, you may not have heard about how to get this. So just focus on this properly. So we will see Ernst-Eisterd reaction. This is Ernst-Eisterd reaction, which tells us that if you take acid chloride, first let us see the overall reaction. Acid chloride react with diazomethane, okay, then followed by Ag2O. Ag2O is used as a catalyst here, then followed by hydrolysis. we will get an acid. Now in this acid, if you see, there is an extra carbon that has come in this acid chloride. So between this R and C, there was a CH2 which was inserted. That is exactly what happens in this case. Okay. Second thing, if you observe, we have to take 2 moles of diazomethane here. Okay. Now let's see how the mechanism takes place here. So this is the structure of diazomethane. We'll have CH2 minus bonded with N triple bond N. So that would attack on this carbon, right? And first, I'll just explain this. First, we will get RCO minus, right? CH2 N2, it's Cl. And O minus will close as a double bond to relieve this chlorine, which is a better leaving group now. So what do we get? We will get this as RC double bond O, CH2 N2 plus. This is what we have, N2 plus. Okay. This is the first mole which has reacted. Now the second mole is useful here. Second mole is CH2 N2 plus and minus. So this minus will attack on carbon. Basically, it will take away this proton. So it will act like a base, extract this proton here. We will get this as RC double bond O, right? And CH2, sorry, CH minus. Okay. Let me just write down everything up. And N2 plus. This is what happens, right? Have you heard about Wolff rearrangement? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay. See, if you have RC double bond O CH minus, okay, always remember this. If you have RC double bond O CH minus with some leaving group here, got it? As you heat, this minus will become double bond here, and this R will shift onto this carbon. This is called Wolff's rearrangement. I hope you understood the requirements. There should be some leaving group, got it, which is withdrawing, okay, and this carbon should have some negative charge on it. Then you will see R minus will shift from here. So this, even if you have hydrogen, hydrogen will also shift to this point. All right. So any alkyl group will shift towards this carbon, and it will make a double bond formation here. So if that is done, what is the product we will have here now? So after the Wolff rearrangement, imagine if this rearrangement is done. So we will get here, what do we have? We have N2 plus, which will relieve here. Got it? R is attacking here, C double bond will form. So basically we'll have R, CH double bond, C double bond O plus N2. This is what is formed. Okay. This is what we call it as ketene, right? Okay. Ketone, which is ene. So ketene. So a ketene is formed here. So our whole objective is to make a ketene formation, and that's what we'll see in Ernst-Einstein reaction. Now the role of Ag2O is to increase this, because this Wolff rearrangement normally happens at around 500 to 700 degrees centigrade. So that's quite a thermodynamically, theoretically, if you see, it is around 500 to 700 degrees centigrade, which means it is difficult to raise to that temperature. That is why Ag2O is taken. The idea of Ag2O is that Ag will slowly makes a bond with this oxygen. Okay. Again, this is all not there for the syllabus, so I'm just orally telling you. So oxygen will make a bond with silver, right? And that at lower temperature only Wolff rearrangement can be observed. So R will get attached to this carbon. It will form a double bond, and C double bond O is formed. So Ag2O, as such, you don't see it is inserting oxygen anywhere. It is just helping like a catalyst here. All right. So once you have the ketene formation, then on hydrolysis it will become acid. That is the whole idea of making acids using ketenes. I guess you understood that. Check out. Here you can see what are the different uses of ketene. If you have ketene on adding water, what would happen? Let me show you that first. Suppose if you have a ketene RCH double bond C double bond O. Okay. So first H2O as a nucleophile will attack here. Alright. As soon as that attacks here, you can get this as carb anion formation here. Sorry. First this will go O minus. So we'll have this as RCH double bond C O minus and H2O. Right. So which means OH has been attached here. Okay. Right, and this is OH2 plus, right? So this O minus will take away this H plus from here and it will become RCH double bond C, OH and OH. Sir, can these two OH exist on same carbon? No. Bond angle, if it is around 120 degrees, then it can exist. Got it? Anyways, here the idea is the minute we have an enol, it will tautomerize further to form RCH2 C double bond O OH. Correct? So in the mechanism, one thing you need to notice is that it would go through the enol formation. Correct. So as water attacks here, first O minus has formed, that has extracted the proton, formed an enol, right? And that will tautomerize to form acids. Now the same logic you will apply to any of rest of the groups also. So which means if you treat that with water, what do we get? We'll get this as RCH2. Check this out. RCH2 C double bond O OH. This is what you will get. Same way, if you treat that with NH3, what would happen? NH3 will attack here, proton will shift onto this, you'll get amide. So we'll get this as RCH2 C double bond O NH2. Same logic. Same way, if there is an alcohol attached, ROH will attach here, H will shift here. So we will have hemiacetal, which will further form into C double bond O and OR dash. Ester is formed. I hope all of you are following that. Same way, if there is an acid, this oxygen's lone pair will also attack here. This H will shift, right? So that H will shift. So we'll have this as RCH2 C double bond O O C double bond O R dash. So what we are getting? Anhydride. So that's quite a usage of ketenes, right? So I hope you got you get to understand what are the reactions of ketene also. Those who haven't written, please make a note of this. This is new. So far, whatever we have studied, you have come at least, you have read them at least once. This is new, so note it down. See that from carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide also, first you would see the attack would happen here, RO here. So we will have this as RO minus as it attacks here. See in C double bond O, first you can think like this. We have C double bond O here. Got it? With positive sign, right? This is how the attack is happening. Just imagine that way because a clear mechanism isn't there for it. I'm just showing you how you can guess it. Okay. Now, once you have this, similarly think about how the Wolff rearrangement is happening here. So instead of carbon on this side, we have oxygen. So R will migrate onto this and this will get O minus formation. Okay. So in that case, what do we have now? R, C double bond O, O minus and Na plus. This is what happens. That on hydrolysis, we will get an acid. Same thing, imagine with hydrogen also. Hydrogen will get migrated to this carbon. So we will have this as H, C double bond O, O minus, Na plus, which on hydrolysis will give us HCOOH. Put it down.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
sir, how this RCO minus comes?
R. There is
RCO.
honestly there is no clear mechanism for it. Right? No books have mentioned it. Think this way. C double bond O plus. This is how it is, right? Got it? CO can be written this way, no, beta? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now this will have the affinity, got it? Which is quite similar to that of Wolff's rearrangement, where as soon as this attacks here, this lone pair which is present on carbon, let me put it here, that will make a bond with this, okay? And you'll get that R shifted onto carbon, and you'll get that one, okay?
Yes, sir.
It's not there anything in the syllabus, please don't worry about it. Just somewhere it was written that it will go as similar to that of Wolff rearrangement, that's all. Finished. Next. So far we have got acids from alcohols, aldehydes, ketones. Now let's see how we can get it from carboxylic acid derivatives. Okay. So if you take any derivative like this was written C double bond O X. Okay. The C double bond O is missing. Let's check this. So if you take RC double bond O X, this X could be anything like, acid chlorides, esters, anhydrides, cyanides, nitriles, or amides. You can take any of that. That on hydrolysis will give us acids. And this hydrolysis could be both acidic catalyzed or base catalyzed. That is the reason why we call them as derivatives in the first place. Got it? Derivatives are those, right? Acid derivatives are those which on hydrolysis should give back the acid. Okay. So esters, acid chlorides, cyanides or nitriles, amides and hydrides. These are all carboxylic acid derivatives. On hydrolysis, they will give back that acid. Okay. Now let's see one by one, starting with acid chlorides, how they are giving. In acidic medium, got it? If you see it in acidic medium, we will get this as R C double bond O OH plus HCl. This is the reaction that will take place. I'm not getting into the mechanism because we have done this mechanism before. The lone pair, you know that lone pair on oxygen attacks on H plus, then water will attack here, making SNTD mechanism. After SNTD, chlorine will be relieved, and that's how we will get the acid back. Okay. So same mechanism, we'll get this. Now this HCl can again attack back here. That means this lone pair can take away this H plus. Cl can attack back here, right? OH minus is not as strong as leaving group here, got it? But it can make it OH2 and then chlorine can remain on it. Okay, so which means it is a reversible reaction as well. But with OH in basic medium, it would form R C double bond O, O minus, and Cl minus will come out. So in this case, we won't see the reaction will happen again. So this is the irreversible reaction. This is irreversible. This is reversible. Okay, I hope that point is clear. Now, same is the case with anhydride. In anhydride also you can see that once the reaction has been done here in acidic medium, we will get this as PHC double bond OOH plus R COOH. Okay, the reaction can be reversed because in acidic medium, this will attack back as a nucleophile, right? SNTD will happen and you'll again get this. So this is also a reversible reaction. Okay. Now, in case if you want to make it in more forward direction, it is an equilibrium reaction, right? So what should be more here? Water should be more. So more water you add, reaction will go more into the forward direction. Okay. More water, forward direction. Same is the case with esters also. Esters in acidic medium, we have just discussed this. This is the acidic hydrolysis of esters. Now, if you just see the preliminary steps, what has happened, I think I leave the space for mechanism only to practice. So OH plus OH, then H2O as a nucleophile attacks here. Sorry, this is OR dash. So we'll get this as OH OR dash OH2 plus. So this lone pair will take away this H plus. Get this as C OH OH R dash OH. As this lone pair closes, this group will leave plus charge. So that's how we'll get this as R C double bond O OH plus R dash OH. For those who didn't understand the mechanism, please go through this, okay? In basic medium, OH minus will directly attack here. We will have C O minus OH O R dash, and as it closes, RO minus will relieve out. So we'll get this as R C double bond O OH plus R dash O minus. Okay, this is irreversible reaction where you will have RC double bond O and O minus plus R dash OH. I think this point is clear to all of you how the hydrolysis of esters is done. All of these are via SNTD mechanism only. Now this is there for our syllabus and the mechanism is also given in NCERT. So let us focus on to this part now. How cyanides, on hydrolysis are giving acids. Okay, let's see. So basically first we have RC triple bond N in the presence of H plus. First we will have RC triple bond NH plus. As soon as we have that, water will attack on this carbon because it has become quite delta positive now, and pi bond will shift as a lone pair onto nitrogen. So we will get this as OH2 plus double bond NH with lone pair. So this lone pair will take away this H plus here. So we'll get this as RC OH. Lone pair is retained here, and here it will become NH2 plus. As it becomes NH2 plus, again next mole of water will attack here. Sorry, first, yeah, next mole of water will attack here, and skipping one step here where this lone pair will make a double bond and this pi will shift there. So I'm skipping that step. Got it? Wait, not to skip, I'll write that also. Let me get this lone pair. So we'll get this as C double bond OH plus with NH2. Again, the lone pair present on nitrogen will take away this H plus. We will get this as R C double bond O NH3 plus. Now you see you can isolate here itself. Got it? At low temperatures, at normal temperatures, we can actually isolate this amide here itself. So that's why earlier also I told you that, okay, we can get amide as the intermediate. So we'll get this amide as the intermediate. Or in acidic medium, if you continue heating that, got it, we will see that nitrogen will take away this H plus and it will form this NH3, which is a good leaving group now. So water would attack again SN3D. You can see that this is also forming SN3D to get RCO minus NH3 plus OH2 plus. Right. So this group will go and NH3 will leave from here. RC double bond O OH2 plus NH3. So this NH3 will take away this H plus, and that's how it is becoming RC double bond OH plus NH4 plus. So I told you that the final product in acidic medium will be ammonium salt with acid. Okay. Please go through the mechanism, everyone. So if heat is not specified, just stop it at amides only. Right? If heat is specified, because this is a very slow reaction, so here again it will take the reaction up to form NH3 plus, water will attack and NH3 will be relieved. Okay, those who have finished, please try it in basic medium now, because I'm sure you won't get time afterwards. So try it right away. RCN in basic medium, OH minus and H2O. Hint is you must get amide also as an intermediate here. Keep practicing, everyone. See, OH minus as a nucleophile will attack on the carbon directly. You will get RC double bond N minus and OH. Those who are able to do this, please don't watch, keep doing it. Okay, so OH minus is attacked. So we got N minus, which from water will take H plus and becomes RC double bond NH and OH. It's a reversible step. Yeah. Okay. Now if you observe here, it can undergo tautomerism. RC double bond O NH2. So you can see amide has formed. Once you have amide, again OH minus as a nucleophile attack on this carbon. SN3D will happen here. So we'll get this as RCOH minus NH2. Okay. Now this is a very important step. In fact, this is a slow step in this overall reaction. All right. Because NH2 minus is not a good leaving group here, but because you have basic medium, O minus will force to remove NH2 only. So we will have RC double bond O OH plus NH2 minus, and this NH2 minus, which is a strong base, we will extract this proton, becomes RC double bond O minus plus NH3. So that's what we have discussed, that in basic medium we'll only have ammonia, not ammonium. I guess the point is clear, everyone.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
in the first step, after getting that RCOH double bond N minus, from water you took hydrogen.
Yeah.
Can we think he will means nitrogen will take hydrogen from oxygen?
From here? Yeah, it can take from here also. Internally it will rearrange to form this only. Got it? But since there is a solvent present, high amount of H plus, I mean protons will be present with water. So that's why I'm showing it to solvent. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Usually in basic medium, always try to show the H plus extraction from solvent only. Okay. Let's see the physical properties now. You can read it from your from the workbook I have given you. Just have once have one reading it. So C1 to C9, all of them are colorless liquids at room temperature. Carbons. It would have suffocating odor or unpleasant odor. Okay. As you go from C9 onwards, it will start becoming waxy, and most of the fatty acids, if you remember, they all have waxy nature, right? Okay. And second thing, right, as the carbon chain is increasing, its volatility will decrease. And normally all carboxylic acids will have higher boiling point, right? So because they will have a strong intermolecular hydrogen bonding, okay, and which will be greater than that of the comparable aldehydes or ketones. Now, if you come across benzene or any aprotic solvent or vapor state, in that carboxylic acid always exists as a dimer. All right. So because of the strong interaction and they are linear, I mean they are planar with respect to this carbon, they will always form this chelation. Okay, so even in the vapor state also, they will always have this dimer form. The reason is only strong hydrogen bonding. Okay. Next. Simple aliphatic carboxylic acids, up to 4 carbons are miscible in water, so they can be dissolved in water. But as you go further, you know, uh, what do we say? If you go more than 4, slowly the solubility will decrease. Now, because the hydrophobic part of carbon has increased, right? So that alkyl, which is hydrophobic, that starts increasing. So you can relate with this that solubility decreases with increase in carbon atoms. So higher carboxylic acid practically are insoluble, like soaps, for instance. Right? That due to increased hydrophobic interactions of hydrocarbon part. Okay, I guess these points are clear. Mainly these are the physical properties which you need to know from carboxylic acid. Okay, any doubts so far? Can I add out one point that benzoic acid is white crystalline solid. White crystalline solid. So it is not easily soluble, in water. Next point is that if you take any dioic acid like oxalic acid, COOH, I think I have written that. No, no, please write down. Oxalic acid or any dicarboxylic acid, they generally exist as solids at room temperature, right? Now, coming to the chemical properties, we'll just discuss about acidity today and we'll stop there. See, carboxylic acid, definitely they will have reactivity with bicarbonate, sodium hydroxide or sodium. So we'll just go through those reactions once. So it will evolve H2 gas if you interact them with metals like sodium, potassium, aluminum, lithium, and so on. It will give carbon dioxide with carbonates, bicarbonates, with salts and alkalis of NaOH. Right? If you see the reactions, COH, when you react with Na, it would form RCO minus H2 gases evolve. With NaOH, it will only have acid-base reaction, so salt and water will be formed. With bicarbonate, this H2CO3 which is formed, it will give an efflorescence of carbon dioxide. And if you treat that with Na2CO3, first it will form NaHCO3. Depending upon how much acid you are adding, it will further react with NaHCO3 and you will get this product. Got it? H2O plus CO2 is formed. Clear on that, everyone? Right. So this acid-base reaction happens with ammonia as well. So let us see how this acid-base reaction is taking place with ammonia. First, RCOOH, when you treat that with ammonia, we will get the salt, which is RCOO minus NH4 plus, because the lone pair on ammonia will extract that proton and becomes NH4 plus. This salt at room temperature will exist the way, it exists in a salt form only, salt solution only. But if you heat it further, it will give away that H2O and forms RC double bond O NH2. You can see H2 from here and O from here will be coming out as water and it will form amides. So depending upon the reaction, how it is being given, suppose if you have RCOOH plus NH3 and heat is being specified, you will always end up the product as amide. Right, so this will be the overall reaction. And let's see how this reaction happens. Work with me now. This is an important question. This was asked in JEE before. It was asked like P, Q, R, what are the products? See, first on reaction with ammonia, we will get ammonium salt because heat is not specified. Check out carefully. So we'll get this as CO minus NH4 plus. Here also CO minus NH4 plus. Next on heating. Next you can see on heating, right? We will get amide form here. Got it. So next we will get CONH2 and CONH2. This is what you will get. Now this is an intermediate product, honestly, because I've written heating on two sides here, but this is like an intermediate. See what happens after this. See, this lone pair present on this nitrogen will further attack on this carbon, right? And as it attacks, this will become NH3 because it will extract proton from here, and this group will become NH3, and this NH2 and this H will relieve as NH3, and finally the product which we will have will be C double bond O NH, C double bond O this plus NH3. Right. What is this one? This is phthalimide. Phthalimide. Phthalimide is a very important preparation because going ahead we'll have a lot of reactions of phthalimide. So remember how to prepare it. So you take phthalic acid, react that with ammonia and heat it. On heating it, we'll get phthalimide. Okay. You remember NBS, N-bromosuccinimide, right? The preparation for N-bromosuccinimide will also happen in a similar fashion. That is the next question you got to practice. Please practice that now. Everyone will do, please. You don't get time now. Now onwards, for the next 1 week, you will hardly get time to, practice otherwise. So keep practicing here itself. See, in exam, you will get only one arrow here. These two arrows are just for your sake, okay? Just to make sure you understand there is an intermediate forming in between. So first one is C double bond O minus NH4 plus. C double bond O minus NH4 plus. That on heating will give us amide. Two amide groups on the same chain here will give away ammonia on heating. You'll have double bond O connected with NH plus NH3. What is this one? Succinimide. Succinimide or succinimide. Okay. Basically what we do, we take this succinimide, add it to base. So this N minus will be generated. That we will react with Br2. So we will get N-bromosuccinimide. Okay. Got this? Everybody got that? Okay. So this is succinic acid. getting succinimide. Next, last one, if you just check it out. Here also heat is been provided. Okay. Now we will have first COO minus NH4 plus, COO minus NH4 plus, right? This I'll write heat separately. This on further heating we will get amides. This time further heating doesn't help anymore, right? Because this cannot cyclize, right? So it will end up only at amides, right? So terphthalate is not going to form phthalimide, terphthalimide.